Hello. Today I wanted to talk about Deadlock, and I just had this question: that will Deadlock be successful if it releases in the next year or so? I mean, you might think I'm a bit crazy, but let's hear it out. If you are an indie developer, just looking at this chart, you can see that having consistent 10,000 players, concurrent players, is a very good thing. I mean, technically, in a pre-alpha stage, Deadlock is actually successful, right? But what is success for Valve? I mean, if you look at the Steam top 10 list, most played games, you can see Counter Strike and Dota are the most played games, and they have been staying in the top 10 list for a really long time. And I think for Valve to have a very successful game, they need to reach this standard, right? I'm not saying Valve is keeping that benchmark, it is just that others are expecting that their games are going to reach that level of hype and engagement. So will Deadlock reach it? And I really think it can, but it is up to Valve. Valve is a very different company. They don't advertise their games properly at all. Like, if you the most recent game, Half-Life Alex, I have not played it, but I remember when it was the trailer released almost like few months just before its launch. So they don't go to E3 or Game of the Year awards shows and promote it over there, which will create even more hype, right? Let's say in Game Awards 2024, they could have just showed a trailer for the Half-Life 3 that could have created an insane amount of hype, and they could have released it in the next year maybe, right? Like similarly what happened with GTA 6, right? But they don't do that. They are a very different company. And during lockdown, I have seen so many videos, so many ads about Valorant, about League of Legends, about Brawl Stars, all these other games, while Valve never ever, almost never advertises their games. Even recently, I have seen the CS2 Shanghai Major. They did not advertise it at all. The esports organizers had to do most of the advertising part, and it is a really crazy thing. And again, it is a very insane thing when we think about it, that Valve, even though they do not advertise at all, they still have a massive amount of player base, right? But I think if they do advertise it, even a little bit, I think they can gain a massive amount of players. But I don't know why they don't do it. Maybe they have their own tracks or analytics charts that they follow. But either way, yeah, it is something that I don't get it. Another part is, unfortunately, most of the Valve games, for streamers, they are good, right? Like the gameplay side of Valve games are really, really engaging, but they are not good for content creation, unfortunately. If you look at CS2 videos, unfortunately most of the videos are at around 10,000. Maybe if you are creating a new channel, it will take a really long time for you to be successful, and if you want to be successful, you have to do something so different from other people, and that is really unfortunate. I'm not saying it is a bad thing. I think what I'm thinking is that most of the players are so engaged to the game that they don't even watch these type of videos, while in Valorant or League of Legends, again, I'm not trying to belittle them, it is just that their content creation community is very active, right? Like, just an update about the recent patches for Valorant gets around 200,000 for small content creators. Again, small in the sense they are definitely big creators, but again, it is a reachable standard for Valorant content creators. And again, I'm not trying to belittle anyone here, but let's take Jonas, average Jonas, for example. He used to get a lot of views just for uploading Valorant videos, but recently, after shifting to Deadlock, the view count has slowed down drastically, right? And I know this is a very pre-alpha stage for the gameplay, but again, if you look at CS2 or anything, again, I'm trying to say is content creation is a very hard thing to break in Valve's games. Again, I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I think most of the players are so engaged in the game that they don't even watch the videos. That is a good thing for gameplay perspective, but not in a content creation perspective. But for streamers, that is not a big thing. I have seen Valorant and CS2 go up back and forth with the viewership. So for streamers, that is not a bad thing, but for content creators, that is a bad thing. Again, I'm not saying you should not do it. It is just you have to be a bit cautious if you are thinking about creating content for Deadlock. But I think they can break this cycle as well if they properly advertise or properly promote the game, and especially they can do it. I really think Deadlock has such a cool, character roster, like hero roster. They can definitely do some really cool things. I mean, they have this comic as well, right? They can create these animation short stories that they can advertise, and they can again bring a lot of players, and they can do something really cool with Deadlock. But I'm hoping they can do this, right? Like they can break this cycle. Again, I'm seeing some awesome CS2 creators. They are not even able to break 100,000 views. It's unfortunate, but again, I'm not saying that is a bad thing at all. It's just I'm saying the side effect of the Valve's games. So yeah, will it be successful? I think it will be. It is the number one wishlisted game in Steam right now, so obviously it is going to be successful when it releases. And I'm really hopeful what concepts they are going to bring. Like I'm seeing that there are some minions with massive bazookas. That is such a cool concept, right? Like if they bring some new things, interesting things, I really think they can nail the gameplay mechanism. And again, really cool concept. So of course they are going to be successful, but how successful is something that I'm questioning. But yeah, I really like what Deadlock is doing. Sometimes I just get bored, from Deadlock, but a lot of players, again, you're seeing consistently 16,000, 11,000. That is a lot of players, right? So there is a massive amount of players that are really interested in Deadlock. So I'm thinking that yeah, again, it will be successful, but it depends mainly on Valve, how quickly they are able to release the game publicly and how good they are able to advertise and promote the game. So yeah, that's it. If you have anything that you want to talk about Deadlock and what you are thinking when it is going to be released and how the public reception is going to be, then please write it down in the comments below. I would love to read them. I would love to know your opinion as well. And yeah, that's it. I hope to see you in my next video. Take care and bye bye.